لكن تحديت الظروف وخضتها وحدي صبورا مستعينا بالصلاة. كم مرة عصف الأنين بداخلي، كم مرة قد ذاق قلبي من أساه محن تمر، وكم كرهت مصابها.
زاد المعاد. And he mentions subhanallah azim under the subheading of في حكم النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم في خدمة الامرأة لزوجها, the chapter on the ruling of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam of the serving or the duties of the woman for her husband. Okay, look what Ibn al-Qayyim said. قال ابن حبيب في الوادحة حكم النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم بين علي بن أبي طالب رضي الله عنه وبين زوجته فاطمة رضي الله عنها. Abu Habib mentions that the ruling of the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم between Ali رضي الله عنه and his wife Fatimah رضي الله عنها when she complained to him for a servant. And Ibn Habib says that the khidmah of what's internal, baking the dough and cooking and cleaning and sweeping of the house and getting the water, and what else when the arrow is over, وَعَمَلُ الْبَيْتِ كُلِّهِ, and working around the house, all of it. And then he mentions what fi sahihain, and he uses that evidence of Fatimah when she complained about the grinding, etc. And he presents the hadith that I used to serve Zubair anhu, meaning I used to look after his house, all of it. وَكَانَ لَهُ فَرَسٌ, and he used to have a horse, and I used to go and get the water, and etc, etc. And then Ibn al-Qayyim mentions there's a difference of opinion. Okay, there's a difference of opinion amongst the fuqaha, that some have made it mandatory from a group from amongst the people of Salaf and the Khalaf of serving in the masalih al-bayt, meaning the rectification of the house. وقال Abu Thawr, we present Abu Thawr said that it's upon her to look after and serve her, all of it. And then it says some have said it's not wajib to serve, etc. And those who went for this is Malik and Shafi, Abu Hanifa and the Ahlul Zahir, and they said there's nothing in the contract of the nikah other than to perform istimta', meaning the sexual matters. And he mentions what's indicative is that she does it voluntary due to her maqarim al-akhlaq. فَأَيْنَ وُجُوبٌ مِنْهَا, and where is it been mandatory upon her? Those who made it mandatory, right? Those who made it mandatory, obviously use the speech of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as far as obviously when it comes to serving the husband and sweeping and basically grinding, etc, etc, and mixing the flour and cleaning and doing the bed and just basically looking after the house, upkeeping of the house. فَمِنَ الْمُنْكَرِ, those who believe it's not wajib, they use the verse of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, وَلَهُنَّ مِثْلُ الَّذِي عَلَيْهِنَّ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ, that to them, meaning the women, have rights over their husbands similar over them to what is basically reasonable. And they also use the verse الرِّجَالُ قَوَّامُونَ عَلَى النِّسَاءِ. Listen to the point here that Ibn al-Qayyim al-Jawziyah mentions, subhanAllah, they're very pertinent, and it really would make sense if you understand it correctly. He mentions, and also what is connected, what is binding, in terms of what is connected to urf, what is connected to what is customary. وَالْعُرْفُ خِدْمَةُ الْإِمْرَأَةِ وَقِيَامُهَا بِمَصَالِحِ الْبَيْتِ الدَّاخِلَةِ, that the urf of basically what is customary, whether you're from Pakistan, India, North Africa, Central Africa, West Africa, amongst the Muslimin, that the urf is that the imra'ah does the khidmah, okay? And he mentions, and the establishing of resolving or looking after the house internally, that's what is customary, the urf. And our qawluhum, those who argue, meaning the ones that say it's not wajib, Ibn al-Qayyim says that indeed that Fatimah and Asma, they did this voluntary and out of goodness. Then you respond to them that to say that Fatimah anha complained of what she did in terms of her serving of grinding, and pay attention with the arrows over. فَلَمْ يَقُلْ لِعَلِيٍّ, it was not said to Ali, do not serve, or she did not have to serve him. Okay? إِنَّمَا هِيَ عَلَيْكَ. And then he further goes on to say, subhanallah azim, he says, وَهُوَ صَلَّى اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِ وَسَلَّمْ لَا يُحَابِ فِي الْحُكْمِ أَحَدًا, that the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam never used to favorite anyone in his hukm. And it says, وَلَمَّا رَأَى أَسْمَاءَ, when he saw Asma, who was carrying the date stones on her head, and Zubair was with him, لَمْ يَقُلْ لَهُ, he did not say to Zubair, no, you do not need to serve him. And this is dhulm upon her. This, look at Ibn Qayyim, this is dhulm upon her. بَلْ أَقَرَّهُ عَلَى إِسْتِخْدَامِهَا, he approved of her serving him, because look, she was carrying it on her head. Then he further goes on to say, and he also approved of the sahabiyat, meaning from the women sahaba, to serve their husbands. And then he mentions, look what he says after, he says, ma ilmihi, that he had the knowledge, the Prophet ﷺ, that they used to dislike it and were not pleased with it. But then what did he say? هذا أمر لا ريب فيه. This is a matter concerning which is no doubt. Now coming back to me now. You see, this matter of Fatimah عنها and Asma and Ali anhu and Zubair. Look how they derived rulings from it. You see what I'm saying? Some said it's mandatory. And some said no, it's voluntary. That's fine. But it is orphan for the woman to upkeep the home. As you heard the Forbes lister mention, she's a multi-millionaire. She works, but she also upkeeps her home. And she says her marriage is retained or maintained because of her looking after the house, doing khidmah. This is the urf. You understand what I mean? Bain al-Muslimin. And even the traditional women from amongst other cultures know this as well. From Africa, from the subcontinent, from North America, from Central America, South America or whatnot. Now we go to the Sharh of Sahih Muslim by Imam Nawawi. What did he mention? And Imam Nawawi rahmatullah alayhi, when presented the hadith of Asma, he says all of this is in connection to goodness and having chivalry or whatnot, which is obviously which the people should need to go towards. The woman, okay, is the one that serves, looks after her husband in this matter that has been mentioned from Asma. And it's like in terms of making the bread and cooking and cleaning the clothes, and other than that. And all of this is due to it being voluntary for the woman and the goodness, etc., for her husband, etc., etc. And it's not due to be forced, etc. This is fine. We agree with that. There's an opinion out there that she don't need to do it. No, of course. It is done out of ma'roof. Of course, there's an opinion out there that says it's not mandatory upon her. She does it out of the goodness, out of ihsan and goodness and whatnot, voluntary. That's fine. Back to the podcast. This is what should have been presented. And in essence, none of them, whoever they were, should not have been on that podcast talking about this matter, because you're spreading this to hundreds of thousands of people. You need to go to the ulama. You need to get the daqiq ruling or the hukam from this mas'ala by going to the classical works. Don't just talk about this matter without no Islamic ruling, backing or statements from the ulama. No, it's a cardinal sin. Please don't do that, because you're misguiding the masses. People use it for entertainment. Please, afwan. I don't care who it is. I don't have no allegiance to no men. Meaning men, whoever they may be. I have allegiance to Allah and His Messenger and the Deen of Islam. I say that to you wholeheartedly. Ample evidence was provided. That's how much evidences are presented. So anyone that comes out talking about these matters which are sensitive without no scholars involved, without no scholarly transmission of evidences, this is unacceptable. I don't care who he is. Can a man can. Then let's be team players, right? Let's work together. Stop using deviant woke imams as your basis, because at the end of the day, they're fooling you. They're not presenting the true Islamic position, because at the end of the day, they're simps. Let's call it out as it is. So take care of yourselves. Wassalamu ala nabiyyina Muhammad.
ليس الغريب غريب الشام واليمن إن الغريب غريب اللحد والكفن إن الغريب له حق لغربته على المقيمين في الأوطان والسكن سفر بعيد وزاد لن يبلغني وقوتي ضعفت والموت يطلبني ما أحلم الله عني حيث أمهلني وقد تماديت في ذنبي ويسترني تمر ساعة